2022 and at Kasarani Police Station, respectively. And could the Cabinet Secretary assure the affected families that the investigations into the incident will be fast-tracked? And finally, the Honourable Member for Thika Town would want to know from the Cabinet Secretary the measures that have been put in place to guarantee security for the immediate family members of the mentioned persons, considering that they have been receiving threats on their lives since the mysterious disappearance of their kin. Questions by Honourable Member for Thika will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Administration and Matters National Security. The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable Gladys Boss, is in the chamber this morning. I'll now hand you over so you could follow up on the live proceedings of the National Assembly. Enjoy your viewing and good arm.
Let us pray. Almighty God, who in your wisdom and goodness have appointed the officers of leaders and parliaments for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor as your servants, whom you have been pleased to call to the performance of important trust in this republic. Let your blessings descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we treat and consider matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you have committed to our church. Amen. There may be quorum. I think we shall ring the bell several times for another 10 minutes.
The Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly, Honourable Gladys Boss, has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes, and this is in line with the provisions of standing orders of the House. And this directive is to allow for more members of Parliament access the chambers this morning. A look at the order paper this morning. At just about where we left, I had informed you of a question by Honourable Member for Thika Town, Honourable Alice Nganga, who will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Matters Interior and National Administration in regards to the disappearance of 2 people from her constituency who are coming from Kakuma in Turkana County to Nairobi. Further, the member for Kirinyaga County, Honourable Jane Maina, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Agriculture, Livestock and Matters Development to provide the measures put in place by the government to address invasion of rice farmers in Moya irrigation scheme by quail birds, where hundreds of acres of farms are destroyed every year. And as a result, could the Cabinet Secretary also consider compensating the farmers who are normally affected by the said menace? And finally, could the Cabinet Secretary explain whether the government has plans, if any, to increase the retail price of paddy rice for Mwea farmers? Questions by Honourable Member for Kirinyaga County will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Matters Agriculture and Livestock. She just stepped into the chamber this morning on your screen. And further, the member for Kipkelion East, Honourable Cherorot Joseph, will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Environment and Forestry that could the Cabinet Secretary explain the current government position in regards to moratorium on logging activities in forest imposed in 2018 and its adverse effects on harvesting of disposal of mature trees in Kipkelion East constituency. Could the Cabinet Secretary also indicate whether the ministry and the government could consider cushioning families that rely entirely on logging activities in Kipkelion East constituency for their economic livelihoods? And finally, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate whether the government, through the ministry, could consider allowing a regulated shamba system in the area to promote an enhanced food security? The member also wants to understand if the Cabinet Secretary could indicate whether there are any plans to lift the moratorium on prohibition of logging activities across the country. The questions by Honourable Member for Kipkelion East will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Matters Forestry and Matters Mining. I had also hinted to you that there are two bills that will be tabled for the first time before the floor this morning, and these particular bills are the Health Amendment Bill, Bill number 42 of the year 2022 by Honorable Didmas Baraza. And just to take you through what the bill is about, is that the principal object of this particular bill seeks to amend Health Act number 21 of the year 2027 to introduce a new section which provides for the development of policy guidelines to regulate the referral of patients to health institutions both within and outside the country. And according to the bill, this particular new section will ensure that the relevant stakeholders are involved in the process of developing such policy guidelines so as to ensure that the process of referral to hospitals outside the country is not subjected to abuse. On your screens, you can see the Sergeant at Arms at the entry of the chamber with the paper, of course, counting the number of members making their way into the chamber this morning. And immediately the quorum has been achieved, they will be signaling the other Sergeant at Arms in the chamber to signal that the business of the House can commence. And this particular directive on matters quorum is pursuant to Standing Orders number 34 that provides for the Speaker or the Chair to direct that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes, and this is to allow for more members to sort of access the chambers this morning. And pursuant to amendments that came with the lapse of 12th Parliament, we have provisions that upon the lapse of the 10 minutes, the Speaker shall also direct that the quorum bell be rung for another 10 minutes to allow for members access the chambers. It is at 9:42 this morning. Apparently 13 minutes when after the business of the House is supposed to sort of have commenced, and we await to understand if the National Assembly is gonna raise that particular number of members of Parliament this morning to commence business as scheduled in the order paper this morning. The bill by Honorable Didmas Baraza on the Health Amendment Bill number 2 of the year 2022 does not delegate legislative powers, nor does it limit the fundamental rights of freedom. And this particular bill does not concern the county governments, and this is in terms of Article 109, subsection 5 of the Constitution, as it does not provide or contain provisions that affect the functions and powers of the county governments as set in the 4th schedule of the Constitution. And as to whether this particular bill is a money bill within the meaning of Article 114 of the Constitution, the enactment of this particular bill shall not occasion the meaning of Article 114 of the Constitution. And the enactment of this particular bill shall not occasion the additional expenditure of the public funds. This is a bill by Honorable Didmas Wekesa Baraza. The other bill that will be read and tabled for the first time is a bill by Honorable Member William Kamket on the Equalization Fund. And a look at the Honorable Member Kamket's bill is a bill that seeks to operationalize Article 204 of the Constitution to establish the structures of directly administering the Equalization Fund for the connected purposes. This particular bill may be cited as the Equalization Fund Act, and this particular bill seeks to establish a board under the Equalization Fund established under Section 6 of the Act, and this particular board will have the chairperson, and this particular chairperson of the board will be appointed under Section 7 of this particular Act. The Cabinet Secretary will also be sitting in this board, and this particular Cabinet Secretary is the Cabinet Secretary in charge of National Treasury. It will also have local committee, to mean Local Equalization Fund Committee, established by Section 20 of the Act, under the marginalized communities. This particular bill by Honorable William Kamket seeks to provide for a framework for the direct administration and management of the fund, establish an Equalization Fund Board responsible for administering and managing the fund, and as well as establishing the structures and mechanisms of implementing the fund. The counting at the entrance of the chamber is still ongoing. Members of Parliament are still streaming into the chamber this morning to raise that particular number that is required for the House to commence business this morning. Pursuant to Article 204, subsection 4B of the Constitution, this Act shall apply to direct use of Equalization Fund to provide for the basic services, including
extend
water,
for another 10 minutes.
Roads, and health facilities, and matters electricity. Another 5 minutes have been added to allow members to make their way into the chamber this morning. We are currently looking at the provisions and the proposals in under the Equalization Fund, a bill by Honorable Member William Kamket. This is the Honorable Member for Tiati. And we've had the whip out of the chamber, trying to rally members of Parliament to make their way into the chamber. At least 50 members are required before the business of the House commences this morning. Pursuant to the Article 204, subsection 3B of the Constitution, this Act shall apply the directives of Equalization Fund to provide for basic services. And these basic services include water, roads, health facilities, and matters electricity to marginalized areas to the extent necessary to bring quality of those services in those areas to the level generally enjoyed by the rest of the nation as far as possible. You remember matters to do with basic rights, such as matters to do with water, health facilities, are basic rights of that every other Kenyan should enjoy. And so the bill seeks to have every Kenyan enjoy this particular bill. Under the Part 2 of the Equalization Fund, the bill shall comprise 0.5% of all revenue collected by the national government each year, calculated on the basis of the most recent audited accounts by the revenue received and approved by the National Assembly. The House has raised that particular quorum required this morning, and this follows the signals by the Sergeant-at-Arms standing at the chambers this morning. So I'll hand you over so you could follow up on the proceedings of the House on this Wednesday morning. Enjoy your viewing.
We may start.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Member Karoli Omondi.
Right Honorable Deputy Speaker, I rise to beg to give notice of motion that aware that this House is anchored on the pursuit for the welfare of society and the just government of the people, guided by the pursuit of constitutional aspirations of all Kenyans for a government based on the essential values and principles of equality, social justice, openness, inter- and intragenerational equity, and prudent and responsible use of public resources, cognizant that there exists pervasive and systemic forms of grand political corruption through which private individuals and enterprises act in concert with state officials to exercise decision-making power and exert undue and unregulated influence over government processes, not for the greater public good, but for their own private benefit, and that this conspiracy extends to influencing government policies and laws so as to facilitate illegal private appropriation of public assets, clientelist dominance of select economic sectors, absence of transparency and accountability in government contracting, deformation of national politics, proliferation of criminal enterprises, forming a shadow economy, all for the sole purpose of private profiteering and unjust enrichment, acknowledging that the consequences of the form of systemic corruption include but are not limited to the potential to dismember the fabric of our nation, to undermining the legitimacy of public institutions, triggering high cost of living, unsustainable public debt, endemic unemployment of the youth, poor health and education services, income inequality, lack of innovation. Now, therefore, this House resolves as follows: to establish an ad hoc committee to be known as the Select Committee on Systemic Corruption, whose mandate will be as follows: to investigate instances in the recent past of systemic corruption, deliberate manipulation of government policies, rigging of tendering processes, use of non-competitive procurement methods, creeping privatization, regulatory capture, skewed government contracting, manipulation of the monetary system, and monopolistic and oligopolistic concentration of economic power for private gain. To report and make recommendations on the matters listed under paragraph A and any other related matters within 90 days. That the membership of the committee be as follows: Honorable Karoli Omondi, Chairperson; Honorable John Philip Gishohi Gagushia, Vice Chairperson; Honorable Sarah P. Korere, Member; Honorable Titus Lote, Member; Honorable Gadhoni wa Mushomba, Member; Honorable Shakil Shabir, Member; Honorable Wakili Edward Muriu, Member; Honorable Florence Jematia Sergon, Member; Honorable John Kiare, Member; Honorable Clive Ombare Gisairo, Member; Honorable Emmanuel Wangwe, Member; Honorable Samuel Atandi, Member; Honorable Mary Maingi, Member; Honorable Majimbo Kalasinga, Member; and Honorable Lilian Chebet-Sioi, Member. Thank you.
The civil marriage on the 10th. Send you the invite. I can talk to
Honorable members, pursuant to order number 42, we are going to have a rearrangement of the order paper, and I think we're going to move to order paper number 8, 9, and 10, and then we shall come back to order number 7. Next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, exemption of business from the provisions of Standing Order 43.
Leader of Majority, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Leader of Majority, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah. Lel Mengit, member for Mgwen, can you stop engaging the Leader of Majority? He has some business to transact.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. You know,
just protected you from
the member
from Mgwen.
The Honorable Joseph, you know, is my very good student. So he usually seeks to understand what is the next business and why you had to rearrange business. So I was just trying to explain to him. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as order numbers 9 and 10 in today's order paper from the provision of Standing Order 43 being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated for business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by a committee. Honorable Speaker, I think the procedural motion is self-explanatory. Today, being a Wednesday morning, we are scheduled to transact private members' motions and bills, but the two orders, order number 9 and 10, neither sponsored by private members, and therefore I seek the House's approval to transact the businesses lined up as order number 9 and 10. And with that, Honorable Speaker, I want to ask the Honorable Pamela Njoki to second.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and the Leader of the Majority, and I choose to second the motion. Thank you.
Honorable members, I now propose that this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as in the order number 9 and 10 of today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order number 43, being a Wednesday morning, a day allocated to the business not sponsored by a majority or minority party or business sponsored by the committee. As of many of the opinion say aye. Let me put the question. That this House resolves to exempt the business appearing as of the order paper number 9 and 10 in today's order paper from the provisions of Standing Order number 43, being the Wednesday morning, and a day allocated to the business not sponsored by the majority or minority party or business sponsored by the committee. As of many of the opinions say aye. Aye. As of the many of the contrary opinions say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, consideration of the Public Finance Management Financial Inclusion Fund Regulations 2022, question to be put.
I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of the Public Finance Management Financial Inclusion Fund Regulations of 2022, laid on the table of this House on Tuesday, November 29, 2022, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24(4) of the Public Finance Management Act, approves the Public Finance Management and Financial Inclusion Fund regulations published as in legal notice number 213 of 23rd November 2022. May I put the question? I now put the question that this House adopts the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its inclusion of the Public Finance Management Financial Inclusion Fund Regulations 2022, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, November 29th, and pursuant to the provisions of Section 24(4) of the Public Finance Management Act 2012, approves the Public Finance Management and Financial Inclusion Fund Regulations 2022, published on legal notice number 2013 of 23rd November 2022. As of many of that opinion say aye. Aye. As many of the contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 10, the County Government's Additional Allocations number 2 Bill, Senate Bill number 4 of 2022, question to be put.
Honorable members, I now put the question that the County Government's Additional Allocations number 2 Bill, Senate Bill number 4 of 2022, as of many of that opinion say aye. Aye. As of that many of the opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable members, kindly led by Honorable Sirma. Honorable members, if you just hold your horses, we shall let you go in a minute. Order number 7.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Madam Speaker, I'm here.
Honorable Member for Kirinyaga County, Honorable Jane Minor, Member of Parliament.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
My question is to the Departmental Committee on Agriculture. The first one, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the measures in place by the government to address invasion of rice farms in Moya irrigation scheme by quail birds, where hundreds of acres of farms are destroyed every year as a result? Could the Cabinet Secretary consider compensating the farmers who are normally affected by the said menace? Could the Cabinet Secretary explain whether the government has any plans to increase the retail price of paddy rice for Moya farmers? Madam Speaker, thank you for this opportunity. If possible, I request a response in form of a written statement.
The Honorable Member who is the chairperson for the Departmental Committee on Agriculture and Livestock. Is the Honorable Member here? The Honorable Member Honorable Member from Kirinyaga County, Jane Minor. I think what we shall do is we'll allow the member, because I know that there's a lot of work going on now with the vetting of the principal secretaries. We shall have it, we shall defy it, and he will answer to you. Thank you. What is your point of order? Member for... Okay.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise on Standing Order 83, read together with the Speaker's manual. Madam Speaker, there is a guide on the issue of code, and I wish to bring to your attention of a member in the House, Honorable Speaker, who is dressed in a formal flag of a friendly country. Is the member in order, Honorable Speaker, to come into a house of representation like ours, an august house, wearing a flag of a friendly country without a substantive agenda for us to discuss? Is she in order, Madam Speaker? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Member. I think I'll give the opportunity to the Honorable Esther Passaris, Member for Nairobi County, to respond.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, today I stand in solidarity with the Democratic Republic of Congo that has turned out to be a conflict zone leading to massive deaths and mass displacement. According to the United Nations, the conflict has since recorded the largest humanitarian crisis in Africa. Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi warns that the regional tensions could escalate into a full-blown war if the situation is not contained. With the DRC's entry into the East African Community and the upcoming general elections in 2023, the robust intervention of the East African Regional Bloc is critical to fostering peace between the DRC and its neighbors, Rwanda. Why did I decide to wear this outfit, the flag, today? I met a number of women, and so far, over 300,000 people have been displaced and forced to flee from their homes in Rutshuru and Bunagana since the reemergence of war. Kenya, through the East African Community Regional Bloc, was appointed to mediate the peace talks between DRC and Rwanda. The former president of Kenya, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, is currently convening peace dialogues in Nairobi, a week after the Kenya government commissioned its army to DRC. So, Madam Speaker, my wearing this outfit today is because I met the women of DRC, some of whom have lived in Kenya for the last 20 years and are really, really happy that our country hosted them, but they are looking and crying for peace in their country. Women are being raped, fired, displaced. So as I wear this flag today, I came out from the breakfast meeting, I walked out with the flag and I told them I will bring awareness throughout the day and stand with them in solidarity, and that's why I'm donning the flag. And as a parliament, we have so many friendship groups. I'm going to try and, I notice we're trying to create a friendship group between, in our parliament in solidarity with Ukraine. I also intend to create a friendship group in solidarity with DRC so that together all of us can call for peace. It has, charity begins at home, and our neighbors are crying for help, especially women and children. I stand guided, Madam Speaker.
I think that's a sufficient answer from the member of Nairobi County, Honorable Esther Passaris. We move on to the next question. Member for Kilkelion East, Honorable Chororot Joseph. Is he present in the House?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question, Madam Speaker, goes to the Cabinet Secretary for Environment and Forest. Could the Cabinet Secretary explain the current government's position regarding the moratorium on logging activities in forest imposed in 2018 and its adverse effects on the harvesting and disposal of mature trees in Kilkelion East constituency, Madam Speaker? Second question, Madam Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary also indicate whether the government, through the ministry, could consider cushioning families that rely entirely on logging activities in Kilkelion East constituency for their economic livelihood? Thirdly, Madam Speaker, the question is, could the Cabinet Secretary also indicate whether the government, through the ministry, could consider allowing a regulated shamba system in the area to promote and enhance food security? Could also the Cabinet Secretary indicate whether there are plans to lift the moratorium on prohibition of logging activities across the country, Madam Speaker? This is to be answered before the departmental committees on environment and forestry and mining. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forestry and Mining. As the member is not present, I will exercise my discretion and defer it to tomorrow. Thank you. Next order.
Order number 11, the Health Amendment number 2 Bill, National Assembly Bill number 42 of 2022, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to amend the Health Act. Order number 12, the Equalization Fund Bill, National Assembly Bill number 47 of 2022, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to operationalize Article 204 of the Constitution to establish structures of directly administering the Equalization Fund and for connected purposes. Order number 13, motion, development of policy on standardization and production of school uniforms in Kenya.
The Honourable Member, Honourable Wamushomba, shall defer to a later date. Next order.
Order number 14, motion, policy formulation on implementation and enhancement of EPZ programs in the country.
The Honourable Member, Beatrice Elachi. We shall defer that also to tomorrow. We know that members are in their committees. Next order. Honourable members, and the time being 10:15 a.m., this House stands adjourned until Wednesday, 30th November 2022 at 2:30 p.m.
These two nations, along with Mexico, Tunisia, Uruguay and the Korea Republic, the only teams who are still looking for their first goal of this FIFA World Cup. A match of huge importance for Cameroon and Serbia's immediate future in this tournament. It's Group G, and a raucous Al Janoub Stadium awaits the pair.
Cameroon and Serbia, 2 of 6 teams remaining in this World Cup, still to record a goal. The CAF officials and qualifiers can equal the longest streak in World Cup history today, with defeat set by Mexico, who lost their first 9 matches at the tournament. Here's Tadic. We know about his creative abilities. Fed in. Good looking cross. That's what Mitrovic is looking for. Clapped his hands immediately for the service from Maximovic. Bouncing ball may be awkward here for Serbia. Angle tight. Vanya Milinkovic-Savic just making sure that he was covering his near post. With Olympiakos, the corner kick taker. Flick on! And turned in by Collins Fry. Was it? No. The player at the far post. Castelletto, the centre-back. What a time to get your first senior international goal. Jean-Charles Castelletto. Tadic has a look at 6 white shirts spread across the edge of that Cameroon penalty area. Free hit! Taken full advantage of the space by Strahinja Pavlovic. Živkovic has to shift it on that left foot. Milinkovic-Savic, 2-1 Serbia. Nobody for Cameroon could close the space. And Sergej Milinkovic-Savic fires Serbia into a 2-1 lead. And this game has been turned around here completely on its head in the space of just a few minutes. Given away again cheaply by Cameroon. Mitrovic. Kostic, Milinkovic-Savic, beautifully worked, and in by Mitrovic. Alexander Mitrovic puts distance between Serbia and Cameroon, and they passed around the CAF qualifiers there. Serenely and frankly, from Cameroon's perspective, too easily. And they pay the price once again for giving the ball away. onside. Flag staying down for now. It's Abubakar, and the chip will find the ball. Oh, it's found the net, but the flag's up. I think he knew all along, but of course he's going. VAR are checking. And the goal is given. Wow. Vincent Abubakar. Well, Serbia look nonplussed, but Cameroon are right back in business. That was a zero-pressure attempt on goal. Here's a similar story opening up again for Abubakar, and a Choupo-Moting. Cameroon are level. Eric Choupo-Moting. But once again, we're wondering, are Cameroon going to get the benefit of being onside here? But they're celebrating at the moment, big style. Yes, it's happening. Well, they've been punished, haven't they, once, Serbia? Just a few moments ago, have they been punished again? It's a terrific run, isn't it, by Abubakar? He's clearly onside. This is an easy one. It would bring about almost certain elimination. It depends on the Brazil-Swiss game later. The release Kostic again, who's done well. Such a good outlet on the left for Serbia, this man. Final seconds here. Kudu trying to keep this attack alive. He's done so. 6 minutes are up. Milinkovic-Savic will gain possession here for Serbia. Will there be time for them to get forward? I don't think so. It's all over. The indomitable Lions are still alive from 3-1 down. Rigobert Song's team. Serbia are still alive. It's on as even. Jean-Charles Castelletto had Cameroon in front. 2 first-half stoppage time goals. Pavlovic and Milinkovic-Savic. 2-1 Serbia at half-time. 3-1 through Alexander Mitrovic. But substitute Abubakar scored and then set up Choupo-Moting. 3-3 the final score.
Get the game underway with a point and a clean sheet already under their belts, but the spectre of elimination looms for Ghana. Defeat today and their World Cup is over.
And it looks like Ghana are starting with a little bit more of a conventional 4-4-2.
Got something up their sleeves themselves. Oh, and chaos reigns!
Yes!
And forced in! Mohamed Salisu pounces for Ghana! Pure joy for the Black Stars! Partey. Here is Abdel Samad, who's having a great time of it in Ligue 1 in France, wearing the blood and gold of Lens. just behind Paris Saint-Germain at the top. Ayu's ball again is really threatening. It's absolutely brilliant, and Kudus takes advantage. And Ghana in total command here, thanks to the brilliance of Jordan Ayew.
What a delivery.
Every Korean player is in the penalty area.
What a ball.
And the goalkeeper was nowhere. Partey thought he was heading somewhere special for a moment.
Fantastic ball in again.
Hwang, Jung, Kim Jin-soo's cross is a real searcher. A terrific header from Cho in the circumstances. And Ati Ziggy able to deny him. It's Kim Jin-soo. Son thought he had it. Lee has. Another dangerous ball, and a goal! It's Cho who pounces and gives Korea Republic genuine hope. The comeback is on.
And this time, it's a Korea Republic delivery.
Son. And one for Kim Jin-soo. Can he dig it out? Yes is the answer. Son is there again!
Wow!
Listen to the roar! It's a red roar! What an answer they have produced here! And suddenly the Ghanaians bereft, dejected, amidst a scene of sheer Korean delight.
When you concede a couple of goals, you've got to take that on the chin. You have to narrow down a little bit and just try and get back in the game by keeping the ball like this. You just give everyone a little bit of a breather and a chance to go again. But they've got to be positive and they've got to look to get it in the box.
Here's Mensah, this is positive. Williams, Kudus!
Yes! Just like that.
The Korean joy did not last for long. Suddenly it's the Ghanaians wreathed in smiles. Well, that is some response.
Unbelievable. Incredible. Really good work from Thomas Partey. They've got the 2-on-1, they've got the overlap, use it beautifully. There's a miss there from Inaki Williams. And you know, the real temptation for Mohamed Kudus is to hit that too hard. But he doesn't look, just walks up to it almost, big side foot, and knocks it.
Lee has gone for it. Ati Ziggy not to be caught out. Jin-Soo coming in! Well, Salisu hooked it away. The pressure not over. It's Hwang now for Korea Republic. Lee, Cho. Oh, tried to squeeze it into that near post. And Ati Ziggy. Going around the back. Cho is in there. Oh, fractions away. Kim Jin-Soo. Kim Young-kwon. Well, that's the height of optimism, but it's forced the corner right at the end here. No, there's no time to take it. It's all over. A World Cup classic. The thrill of victory belongs to Ghana. The agony of defeat for the Korea Republic, who end in great frustration. There was no time left to take that corner. The game can only be extended for a penalty. They ran out of time. And a red card for Paolo Bento, the Korea Republic coach.
Action has continued in the ongoing FIFA 2022 World Cup, and it's Group G action from the Stadium 974. Brazil up against Switzerland in a game that will see Brazil make it to the round of 16 if they do get a positive result here. So in red on the right side is Switzerland, and defending the goal on the left with blue shorts and yellow being the Brazilian side. Opening exchanges very cagey as both teams were not giving their all, trying to be as much as possible, being conservative. Maybe the pressure could be seen even from the expectant crowd that were hoping to get a goal. First attempt on goal came through, and that was well dealt with. That ball intended to get Richardson, but the Swiss defense remained resolute. At this stage, it turned out to be one-way traffic with Brazil being the dominant side. A ball at the back post, and goalkeeper to be called into duty to deny Vinicius Jr. what could have been the first goal of the match. Goalkeeper positional sense very good and not giving chance to the Brazilian attacker. One of those rare movements in terms of getting a goal for the Swiss side came through. But again, with a lot of yellow shirts, no opportunity given for the Swiss side to have a decent shot at goal. Brazil continued to search for what proved to be an elusive goal, and in the 63rd minute, they managed to prise open the Switzerland defense. Ball nicely tucked in by Vinicius Jr. And at this stage, when almost everyone had thought that this was going to be the first goal of the match and the first for the Brazilians, only to be recalled yet again, VAR had to kick in. But credit should go to the composure that was shown by Vinicius Jr. when in front of goal, and accompanying that was that celebration. So VAR coming in, and the goal was disallowed, much to the disappointment of Vinicius Jr. and the Brazilians, who had thought they had taken the lead in the second half. As if that was not enough, the pressure continued by the Brazilians, who continued being the more offensive side. And after an interchange and link of passes, the Manchester United man, Casemiro, cometh the hour, cometh the man, managing to put that one, leaving the Swiss goalkeeper stranded. And just how important it made for these Brazilian fans who had been chanting and drumming all the evening, hoping to get that goal. The expertise in terms of how this shot was taken, no chance for the goalkeeper, although one might argue that there might have been a slight touch, but almost that does not change what has turned out to be the most important goal for the Brazilians in this match, having tried several times and not to get a goal. looking for the second one for the evening. The Brazilians continued piling up pressure, and a good serve denied the Brazilians what could have been the second one. Positional sense very good by the goalkeeper, and leaving nothing to chance in terms of extending the lead. Now, in additional time, which we have experienced in terms of the many minutes that have been given at this World Cup, again, it was Brazil who, with Vinicius Jr. being the most prominent feature in terms of keeping this Swiss defense very busy for the larger part of the evening. And yet again, ball past the defense, one-touch route football, and it had to take the defensive work for the Swiss side to keep it out. In the closing stages of the additional time, Brazil still feeling one was not enough, still continue to pile up pressure in hoping to get a goal that will probably put the icing on the cake, and thereby to confirm Brazil as one of those, if not the second team to qualify to the second round or the round of 16 at this year's Qatar 2022 World Cup. Retention of possession, time management was really very good by this Brazilian side, who tried as much as possible not to give away possession cheaply, and thereby making it possible that the match finishes in this fashion, although the Swiss side will be credited for having put up a brave fight. The continuous attacks came through, and at this stage referee said enough is enough. One goal from Casemiro, the man from Manchester United, in the 83rd minute is what separated these two sides, even as the Brazilian legends Cafu, Ronaldo, and the leading contingent of the Brazilian supporters who feel business has been done, and for a big team like Brazil, it is certainly round of 16 that comes through. So, for confirmation of the full-time score, Casemiro the goal in the 83rd minute, Brazil 1 and Switzerland 0. The Lusail Stadium hosted yet another big fixture in terms of the Qatar 2022 FIFA World Cup. And of course this one, Group H, in which Portugal were coming on a high, having beaten Ghana in the first game. We're facing a Uruguayan side that recorded a draw on match day 1 of the FIFA World Cup. All eyes, as usual, and focus was on Cristiano Ronaldo, the leading marksman for this Portuguese side. With a half an hour played plus 1, the Portuguese side defending the goal on the right side were exposed to what could have been the first goal of the match. A Messi ran through a cluster of players, only to be rescued by the Portuguese goalkeeper, and really a big let-off for the Portuguese side, who had sat back behind and allowed for that attack to come through from Uruguay. Frustration really showing on the face. And just to recap on how the action came through, there was a breakdown in the midfield, and no one was closing in the spaces for the shot to be taken, and the last man in the line of the defense in the goalkeeper not giving a chance to have that ball go behind the back of the net. Early warning signs really, and Diogo Costa doing very well between the sticks in denying what could have been the first goal for Uruguay. And really great disappointment for many the fans that were in the Lusail Stadium that had thought that Uruguay had taken the lead. That being the only action in the first half, they were few and far. It was the Portuguese side that came more organized in the second half, and an opportunity near post angle narrowed, and no chance only for the ball to hit the side net. And at that stage, the Portuguese side were beginning to gain in confidence and feeling that something at some point needed to give. More attacks came on 2 minutes later after that early attempt in the second half. And this one was a debate as to whether it was Cristiano Ronaldo at the slightest of the touches, but it was actually Bruno Fernandes who had judged and seen the goalkeeper being a centimeter or 2 inside off his line, seizing the opportunity to put in one in the back of the net. The Portuguese really celebrating for this one, because it is something that they were looking for. 2 out of 2 in terms of a win is what they were looking for. Ronaldo claiming the goal, but after several replays, it was actually given to Bruno Fernandes because there was no or little or no contact that was made on the ball from that shot that was taken by Bruno Fernandes. And yet again, a better angle to clear the debate in terms of whether there was a touch or not. Clearly, it was just the reaction movement from Cristiano Ronaldo that disturbed the goalkeeper for the Uruguayan side, who was stranded and could not make any movement in terms of whether to follow the ball or the move that had been made by Cristiano Ronaldo. So confirmation, goal given to Bruno Fernandes, but it was a well-floated ball deep into the box. Ronaldo will claim it, but it's the Portuguese side that will claim it overall, with Bruno Fernandes credited for it. An attempt in terms of the reaction came through from the Uruguayan side, and just how it could have just changed things that one got in, but the Portuguese will thank the upright for what was supposed to be a goal, but denied by the upright. Goalkeeper slight touch, somewhat